All right. That's what we went down there. I know. All right. I know y'all can hear me. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm live everywhere. And, it kind of looks like that. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Because I am that. I'm just showing y'all my beautiful face. Hi. Jake, I'm here. All right, this is the first time that didn't cut off. Normally, it'll go for 2 minutes and it cuts off by itself, but today it decided not to, so we're okay. How you like my beautiful slide I got over there? There you go. That my beautiful slide I got over there, right? That's great. Okay, today's topic. We call this basic financial planning, and we're going to start at level 1, which is actually on the bottom, and then we're going to move our way up to freedom and legacy. Actually, I should say financial freedom and legacy. But I've been told a lot of people when they hear that they kind of get what's the word I want to? I don't want to say turned off, but it's like a cliche. But I'm here to tell you, it's not really a cliche. Okay, I was in the financial planning industry for 32 years, and during that period of time, I was able to help over 6,000 families. And the only reason I couldn't help more because there was no money there. And this is the sad part, because if you think about it in life, we all start out equal. Okay. We go to school for at least 12 years. I don't know if you want to count kindergarten or not, but at least 12 years. And in that period of time, they teach us how to add, subtract, multiply. Then they take us over into algebra and geometry, you know. And then some of us go into a higher form of education. And we believe that because we graduate and get a good paying job, that, hey, everything's okay. Excuse me. I think some of you remember I told you that I have asthma and there's nothing I can do about it. So please bear with me. I'm human, just like everybody else. We all got something wrong with us. That's my little cross to carry. And I'm honored to do it, especially when I have a number of people out here who are a lot worse off than I am. So I never complain. Okay. So let's go ahead and start out with level number 1 and then work our way up. Okay. I think that's a good way to start. So this section here, we're going to call securing your essentials or your basic needs of financial planning. And it says, what are the bare essentials you must cover? For most people, of course, there's food, shelter, electricity, and natural gas, transportation to work, which is very important. Now, here's one that stands out that no one wants to talk about: health insurance. Okay. Do you know in 2026, I still walk around and I see people who are, let's say, under the age of 65, missing teeth in the front or the side of their mouth. And why is that? You see it right there, health insurance. Now, I live in Europe where things like that are covered. When it comes to dental, let's say at least, dental probably about 60%, 50 to 60%. Okay. So, but in America, there's nothing there. In other words, if I had to pay a dental bill of $1,000, I'd rather, have to pay 500 or 600 versus the whole thousand. In the United States, you got to pay it all, and this is why you see this. All right, so health insurance says falls into the category if you can't afford to buy it. You may want to go for the Affordable Care Act if it's still there. We don't know. I believe if we make it to 2028, yeah, it'll be back and they'll improve upon it because every Western country, France, Canada, let me think, Germany, England, all these people, they're classified as Western country, they have a national insurance program, but we don't. But that's another webinar. Let me get back on point here because health insurance should be a part of your budget. What we're talking about is your basics right now, right? And I'm gonna go to that picture just for a second because I think it's important. Every time I visit a person's home, I had that calculator and that white pad out, and the first thing we did was we sat down and we figured out their incoming and outgoing. Okay, and these are some of the things that we're talking about right now that would be on the outgoing side. Now, here's one that most people do not have. I would probably say probably 90% of the working force in America do not have this, an emergency fund. Because emergency fund is actually 6 months of your normal pay in an account just for what it says, just for emergencies. Now, some people start it, then they end up using it for Christmas, they end up using it for vacations, they end up just using it because it's available to them to get very easily, not understanding the full picture, which means it's part of your financial plan. And it's a very important part of your financial plan because emergencies do happen. Okay. Car breaks down. That's definitely an emergency in 2026. You know, um, I'm not going to go back to the medical again. You already understand that. Now it says purchasing life insurance. Now understand this. This is where people get this mixed up. Life insurance is not life insurance. They should change it to the word income protection insurance for your family, meaning the remaining spouse and kids if one uh, part of the couple dies and there's still a spouse and kids who still have to go on. Because normally most families are what? They're working two jobs. If they're working two jobs, that's two paychecks coming in, making up the income coming into the house. So if one is suddenly cut off, right, and it's a permanent cutoff, such as death, then that income needs to be replaced, and it's replaced with what we call life insurance, which is really income protection. And that oh boy, if I could suggest just off the top of my head without seeing your finance, it normally should be at least 10 times your annual. That's what it should be. So therefore, you would have to have a mixture of what they call term and whole life in order to be able to accomplish that. All right. And just as a just in case the unexpected happens, that's exactly what it means. You can't change that any whatsoever. So let's move on to level 2. Building financial security. It says once you've handled your basic financial needs, you can move up to the pyramid second level. You need to increase your income to start meeting these needs. Now, this is where a lot of people just get left behind, especially in 2026. And I'm not just saying it, just turn on the news. It's saying it. There's no money there. We've got these higher rates since January 2025. We got these higher rates for groceries, you name it, partially caused by the tariffs, partially caused by normal inflation. All right, but we've got to deal with that. And this is why it's very important that you understand and you know your finances. So, where does it go? Okay, it talks about, first of all, increasing. Now you're getting ready to get to the point where you're going to start talking about buying a home, right? So therefore, you're going to need more life insurance. And just like I suggested, they suggest that you use term insurance. But now, don't think you can carry term insurance your whole life, because you can't. It just runs for a term. It could be 10, 20, or 30 years. But then when it runs out, there's nothing there. There is no cash value to a term insurance policy. It's just to get you more coverage when the kids are home in the house growing up, that if something happens to either you or your wife then, or you or your spouse then, let me say it the right way, okay, that protection is there. Now, again, if you can afford it, you could also get something called disability income insurance. And this is a form of term insurance also, because it's not something that you want forever, but it's to be there in case something happens to you where you suddenly become disabled and you can't go out and work again. Right? Remember, all the bills were created from what? 2 salaries. Okay. And in the case of a single parent home, wow, this is for the kids. They don't make sure that they don't end up out on the street if it's just one parent there and the other one doesn't care. Then it says repaying high interest debt. Now that comes into the under the umbrella of controlling your debt, you know. And here is where you not only look at your debt, you also have to look at your credit score. That's a very important part of it also, because if you have a high credit score, then of course that lowers the amount of um, coverage you need. I'm sorry, the interest that you would need if you take out a loan or have to take out a loan somewhere. And now, as you know, your credit report is so important when you go to rent a home. They want to know what your credit score is. Sometimes when you go to apply for a job, they want to know because they said that you paying your bills kind of shows what type of character that you have. Okay, now they say this not knowing you, but some employers go by that. Repaying high interest debts, also that's a big part of it. That comes under um, first of all trying to either keep away from debt or eliminating debt if you were forced to have some um, upon you, because things that we know that we're going to go in debt for, one is a car, that's for sure. Okay, because it's a needed form of transportation. Sometimes we're talked into putting our household furniture uh, into a debt form. But other than those two, everything else we should try to pay cash. You know, think about that. Okay, I'm not going to lay on it, but I want you to think about that. Now it says building for the future. This is level three. With your basic insurance needs met, your high interest debt paid off, and your retirement savings underway. So here they're saying you already started some type of small account. It could be a 401 on the job or something like that, um, to actually start working towards retirement. When should you start working towards retirement? In my opinion, day one. Day one, the first job you get. Okay. That way you've got at least 40 years to work on it, unless you happen to start a business and, you know, it does very well. Okay. So what does it say here? Uh, with your basic insurance needs met, your high interest debt, and your retirement savings underway, you likely can focus on saving for a down payment to buy a home as little as 3% of the purchase price, though you'll pay less monthly overall if you can get up to at least 10%. Okay. Now, some of you say, yeah, that's a lot of money nowadays. Yes, it is a lot of money. This is why we have people that, sad to say, are working two jobs. Um, Not every one can go out and get a six-figure a year job or a seven-figure a year job. All right, so we have to deal with reality here. So many people buy a home anticipating of starting a family. Anticipation of starting a family. Well, I don't know about you. That didn't happen in my case. Okay, that baby decided just to show up when it wanted to show up, and it was right at the beginning of our marriage. Uh, where am I at? If that's part of your plan, then providing for your children becomes a financial priority at the stage of the pyramid, which means starting college savings plans. Something else I suggest to families. So, do you understand that why I did financial planning that long? Because all these areas of your finances have to be taken care of. And a lot of people don't want to hear that word, but it comes down to budgeting. But budgeting is a big part of your financial plan. Okay, knowing that you're going to designate so much a month for entertainment, which means eating out, going to the movies, things like that. So much for household. The household can also include buying clothes for the family. That's part of household also. Okay, but a lot of people don't look at it like that. This is why you don't try to do it yourself. When you can, you want to work with a professional. I'm just putting it out there. When you can, you want to work with a professional. And I'm not talking about one of those that'll charge you an arm and a leg, because you do have some people out there like that. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, I can't see them right now, But if you leave them in the comment section of wherever you're watching me, oh my goodness, I knew it was something I didn't do. I did not go live on TikTok. I'm on Instagram Live, I'm on YouTube Live, and I'm on Facebook Live. I guess I have to redo this again right after I get done this one. All right. So, where are we at? We just hit level 3. Let's move on to level 4. It says at this stage, you might be settled into family life with a home you've lived in for years and a career that's well established. I guess now you're in your 50s, I would guess, from what they're saying here. You've racked up a few raises and promotions over the years and comfortable by paying your monthly bills and saving for retirement. If so, then you might want to focus on putting extra savings towards your children's college fund. Excuse me, why is that? Because the cost of college goes up every year. It's very simple. Inflation. Gosh, I wish I could give you an example. We were just making, my wife and I, a comparison to 10 years ago and now. Oh, I know what it was. Okay. 10 years ago, this one mall we went shopping at, or actually it was ended up being a grocery store. And we hadn't been back there in a while. And then we went back and we realized that just about everything had doubled in price within a 10-year period of time. Double in price in a 10-year period of time. So just think about that when you talk about your kids going to college. The price is going to keep going up. But does your paycheck grow fast enough to keep up with inflation? The answer is no, it does not. This is why a lot of people work second jobs, or they'll start a network marketing business on the side to have extra income coming in, so they don't have to go out and actually work a part-time job, I don't know, in a fast food joint. You know, they go online, they find something that they like, and they market it, which means they're actually selling it, is what they're doing. Okay. Okay, so with your own retirement becoming more of a reality than an abstract concept, you may want to focus on maximizing your retirement savings, paying off the mortgage. You know, I could read that to you, but you know what bothers me with that is that in a lot of cases, that never happens. This is a perfect world that they're talking about here. Now, can we help you get there? Yes, we can. That's why we have Project 10,000. That's why we have a partner that they have nothing but professional, professional tax advisors, people who used to work for the IRS. We have professional credit people, okay? We have professional bill negotiators, and we have professionals that handle investments for you, even help you buy a home. All that we do. But these are professionals that do it every day from 9 to 5, if not later. All right. A lot of times you're so focused on your job, you don't have time to think about stuff like that. So therefore, there are professionals waiting to help you. And trust me, it does not cost as much as you think it does on a monthly basis for that to happen. But I have a partner. I'll just give an example. Our tax advisor saved him, if I'm correct, somewhere between $21,000 and $27,000 on a tax bill when he first started with the company 3 years ago. All they did was, took the last 3 years of his taxes and reviewed them, and they got him back that kind of money. Professionals. That's the key word. Professionals. All right. Let's move on to number 5. This is the peak of the pyramid where you can, with hope. I don't like that word. Okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it. This is from research that I did. I took this particular one, and I see some things in it that I don't agree with it, because I know there's a better way. Okay, this is why I work with the professionals that I do, who help my clients to change the situation around. So it's the peak of the pyramid is where you can, with hope, relax, and enjoy your earlier efforts at building financial security. You may be able to retire and start living on the income from your investments. Folks, I'm here to tell you. I just realized this, and I apologize, and I'm going to clear it. I'm going to do better with this, but I've come to discover what I'm reading here, This is a plan that my grandparents looked at. Okay, you don't have to work 40 years and then retire with 40% of your paycheck. If you are diligent in 2026 with tools such as AI, with the right investments, you could be set in 5 to 10 years. The problem is, most of us are so busy trying to catch up, we don't have time to go look for the information that will lift us up and help us to get to our financial goals. Now, along with what I'm doing here, most of you who know me know I'm partnered under the Project 10,000. We're partnered with a company that has everything I just talked to you about and more. You can even create a residual income and a passive income. But you have to be willing to investigate. Okay? You have to be willing to investigate. And we're here, they behind me. I'm just directing you to them under my Project 10,000 to help. And as of tomorrow, excuse me, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn on my humidifier behind me on the desk there when I came in the room. As of tomorrow, I'll be starting a community on a platform called School, SKOOL. Okay, so when you come on the show tomorrow, I'm going to inform you about that, and we're going to be diving deep into your finances, to give some suggestion, to show you ways of turning it around. For those of you that want to get your finances in order, where you don't have to work 2 jobs. I mean, we've had we've had some people, and I can actually show you testimonies of this. Excuse me, where they've actually had anywhere from $700 to $2,000 put back on their paycheck. Okay, now let's say it was only $400 or $500. What would that do for your finances if you had that kind of money returned back to your paycheck? Just that. I'm not even talking about the 2,000. Okay, because it all depends on what your income is, what you're earning. But anywhere from 700 to 2,000, they've been able to return to people's paycheck. I'm just saying, well, what if it's only $400 or $500? How would that help out your household? These are the kind of things that we're going to talk about in our community. And like I said, I'll start inviting people tomorrow on the show tomorrow. So if you know anybody, need to tell them to tune in, because I'm going to tell them about it. And I'll be talking about it along with, I don't know what the next topic is tomorrow. I don't have my sheet in front of me. We had a little illness in the house today, so it kind of threw me off mentally. But everything's okay. Everybody's healthy and they're in good hands. This is where I'm just going to stop here on number 5, because this is the gold of developing a financial plan. But now I'm going to say it again. In order to develop a financial plan, you have to take control of your paycheck, or if you and your wife are working, paychecks, where you can get to a point that you need to learn how to basically, let's say, live from one or one and a half, and then do something with the other. If you can't, then what you need to do is find a way to create more income from home, not running straight from one job to another job. Okay. And that's another thing we're going to discuss in the community for those that want to do it. Do you know you could actually come on board, get your finances all straight, and then just by telling a friend or a couple of friends, you could end up them coming on board, and you could make income from just referring them to the program. So it gets crazy. But we're not going to talk about it all today here. We wanted to talk about some of the basics of finances. And trust me, in my school community, SKOOL community, we will dive deeper into this. Okay. And I'm going to find ways that we're going to have fun in there learning at the same time. So look, I've kind of run over my time, as I always do. But now today I don't have to worry about fighting to turn off my TikTok, because I didn't set it up So I'm gonna have to run over there and do the same program all over again. Look, I love you guys, and I truly want to take those 32 years of knowledge that I have and be able to pass it on to you. And like I said, I have professionals behind me. It's just not me by myself. I have professionals waiting to help you. And we're talking about for less than what, 160 bucks a month to help you get your finances straight. Okay. Tax advisors, credit advisors, even real estate advisors. All right. All of that. And we're going to talk about it some more this week. So I'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And do me a favor, invite somebody. Invite somebody. Share this. If you got some value out of this today, share it. Share it on your page, send it to a friend, whatever. There's a button below where you can share it. If you're on YouTube, you know how to do it over there. Instagram, definitely for sure. So I'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And everybody have a safe and prosperous day. Like we always said to our truck drivers in the early days, you be safe out there on the road. Okay. See you tomorrow.